We call them the solar logos. This is 2 inches, this is 1 inch, and this is great for kids and dogs and pets, cats and babies, and people who like delicate things. It's a sheet of aluminum. Aluminum is a great conductor. When you laser a groove, an actual groove, in a conductor, when it gets charged by any form of electromagnetism, the electrons will travel in the grooves. The unbound electrons will. And because I have some quartz, real quartz, this is a 1/4 inch of quartz touching it, I've got lots of free electrons that are unbound that are going to jump around in those grooves because they're sandwiched.
Oh, okay.
So it creates a harmonic. It's a harmonic resonator. Now if I was using plastic and I just printed that image on there, that wouldn't happen. So there's a $30,000 laser we use to do this, so it's not cheap to do it. And the same thing, when you have geometry in your silver, this is my trillion design, you're creating a vortex wave pattern. This is very weak energy. The body's very weak energy. The human heart is extremely weak energy compared to what we're used to in appliances. But this body is so sensitive that little changes on the nano or even the micro, the nano, and even the all the way down to the femto, which is a quadrillionth of a meter scale of a wave. Changes on those scales really affect consciousness, really affect how good our thinking process is. And that's probably why a lot of priests in different temples and different ancient world systems use semiconductor stone in their temples. They used it on the body. And now, we wear rubber shoes, we're insulated from the earth. We have walls and buildings that are made of plastic and things that don't produce very much energy. So no wonder everybody's getting depressed, these days. So this is my trillion design. This is the vortex design that a friend of mine designed.
And that looks like it's a relatively simple design.
Yeah, that's rose quartz. Yeah, and this is a flower of life. And notice, you see the windings in the neck? Those were tiny, tiny little micro, amazing windings. So the windings, add to it. And the gems in here, like this is golden citrine. People order diamond. Some people want a ruby in there. Big rubies are really expensive.
And then you treat these as well.
Yeah,
right?
These pendants, all of them go into these a very, very highly compressed magnetic field. And I found that stone and semiconductors are very sensitive to radio waves, but most people out there who are treating pendants they don't really have enough knowledge to understand how to really get the memory to stick in there.
And so people who might be familiar with water memory, this is kind of the same thing, except you're storing it in crystal.
Yeah, water is a liquid crystal, and crystal is a solid state crystal. But you got to get it to open up first before you can program it. And it stays in there. Like I said, they have dated the alignment of the Earth's magnetic north field by looking at pottery that was fired in an oven thousands of years ago, and it memorizes the magnetic field.
Now you've said that this was without giving away too much, this was a several-hour process, right? You subject these to.
These go in for about an hour to get the sound of the sun programmed into it. That's the base, because the sun is the greatest harmonizer of the solar system. It brings everything in nature back to balance. But you can get the Fibonacci, you can get the Infinity, the Great Pyramid. You can even get the Lord's Prayer in Aramaic. We can take any audio file of religious hymns or tones and program it in addition. But there's also harmonic codes that everything goes through. And those numbers are secret. I'd never give those numbers out.
Sure.
That's the differential that we talked about earlier. Without that, nothing. Energy doesn't flow without difference. So the generators are programmed with differential numbers.
Yeah, so of all the pendants out there, really, these are the only ones that are engineered to transfer energy.
Yeah, you have a lot of cheap, little pendants that some people say they call them 0 point energy. In physics, there's no way to Not at the femto scale, not at the smallest size wave scales are we anywhere near the true 0 point. Where 0 point fluctuations occur at absolute zero temperature is the size of the wave scale. Nobody's ever seen waves that small, not even in particle colliders. So when some guy says he's got a 0 point energy that he's treating his pendants with, he's wrong. But differentials can reach the 0 point field. I'll give you an example. If you vibrate a 9 and a 10, a 9 and a 10 ratio is 1 to 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. And after the decimal, the 1s go forever to the right. And because the further you go to the right, your size scale of your wave is getting smaller.
So it's a harmonic.
It's going to reach the 0 point. But no single frequency can do that. Because the single frequency is a wave, and no one has ever made a frequency anywhere near the 0 point.
Yeah.
Scalar is another thing. Scalar. There's people who do scalar pendants, and scalar itself doesn't mean anything if it's not harmonic scalar. I mean, there's people who know how to create scalar waves, but are they harmonic to the body?
Well, what kind of effects have people reported with these?
Oh, I'm having people having increased telepathy. People say, like, I had a guy who bought a red jasper. Different crystal materials and our different pendants affect people differently because they're made of different materials. And this guy said, well, my volts didn't go up that much, but all my pain went away that I've been fighting for decades. Now, see, I can't make a medical claim and say that everyone who has pain, that's going to happen to you, but it happened to him. And I had a guy who had knee surgery, hadn't been hiking in years. He put on a Brazilian blue quartz. And these Brazilian blue quartz usually produce the highest voltages, that people will ever see. There's something about blue quartz that seems to produce really high millivolts compared to some of the other materials. Although no two people really respond exactly the same. Let me see. Yeah, you see, I just saw 18 there. I just passed 200. I passed the limit of the meter at this scale on the blue quartz. So again, that shows you how important materials are. To me, it's not all about voltage. I just went to 300 millivolts on this. 300 millivolts. But it's not all about the most energy. It's about the quality of the vibration. And then you have all these other guys out there with pendants, and they're muscle testing, and they're saying if you hold this pendant in this hand, you're going to muscle test stronger. Well, if you clench your fist bare, you're going to muscle test stronger. And my argument with a lot of those pendants is some of them are using real technology. I know how they're doing it. I know how they're programming it. It's not very good. And there really is something there that you can feel. And there are some other companies out there that have some pretty interesting vibrational products. In the realm of treating the body, you see, you have Royal Rife, the scientist Rife, who found certain frequencies could destroy viruses. I don't use any single frequency because single frequencies don't have difference. So if you have, for example, to create a binaural beat for the brain, let's say you do one wave at 120 hertz and another signal at 122 hertz. You have a difference of 1. So in the space between those two waves, you'll feel a 1 second pulse.
So these are frequency envelopes that you're using.
There are whole ranges, like the pyramid frequencies in here, 180 frequencies going at the same time, all harmonically designed to work together.